Welcome back to The Watch, and look who I'm with!
Hello, everyone!
Look at this strange-looking Aussie. Do you recognise him? Do you know where he's from?
Raging Rhino in the house.
There you go. And we just watched Deadpool Wolverine.
Yep. I've got some thoughts on this one.
Same.
I've got some real thoughts on this one.
Okay, we're diving in. Rhino's here to join me for this review, and who knows, hopefully we'll have you back another time.
Yeah, for sure.
So, out of the gate, really fun, and now I'm conflicted as to, would I call it good? I think yes I would, but purely just for the fun factor.
Yeah.
In terms of it's first, what do you think?
Well, I think it was good too.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I got hyped up a little bit too much because of people's initial thoughts that I like watch and listen to and trust in regards to their thoughts on a lot of these things. And my expectations kind of went too high.
I think my expectations are too high, but I had them from the trailer.
Yeah.
See, the trailer was betraying that there was
too.
something really significant that was threatening everyone. And like, so, okay, like Deadpool, his whole world is at threat. They told us that is in the trailers. And Wolverine, he destroyed his world and stuff like that. And it was this big epic battle to save universes.
I don't like how it was paid off.
No.
I don't like how it was paid off. It was a bit lackadaisical, to be honest.
In actual fact, every reason or thing that they have holding up the primary conflict of this film is not only I feel badly done, it's annoying.
Yeah.
And you already know TVA is in this.
Yeah.
We're going to avoid major spoilers before this is our broad overviews, but I need to mention this. The TVA plays a major role in the entire film.
It does. The thing is, though, I think I need to watch it again as well, because there's a lot there when there's not a lot there. I know that sounds really confusing, but it's dumb fun. It really is. And the cameos are good. There are some that are just like, a lot of people were saying like the cameos have meaning. Like the people that cameo, they've got some character and they got some meaning to them. I don't think that's got as much as what people are hyping that up to be.
It was all just fan service, popcorn, and look, it's a fun film. I laughed out loud multiple times.
Yeah, me too.
But it's a fun film with basically no real substance.
Yeah. The story falls flat. I don't know. I can't, there's a lot that I want to say, but I don't want to get into spoilers.
We'll get to the spoilers.
Yeah.
The thing that surprised me, though, even with such little substance, like we're talking about toothpicks that are built on contradictory nonsense.
Yep.
And that nonsense is the TVA, right? Even with that, I was amazed at how earnest some of the scenes were able to reach, even though it was built on nothing. And it's all a credit to Hugh Jackman, really.
Yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds as well.
The acting performance and their chemistry, of course, as we've seen through a lot of the advertising as well, has been really good.
Top tier.
So there's that. And I think that's what also, too, makes it fun. You can sit there with a smile on your face, despite the fact that there are some issues with some of the scenes and some of the things that you're seeing. But you can sit there with a smile on your face because it is sort of just dumb fun, you know?
Yeah, and for this film to achieve the thing that people have been speculating, that could it save Marvel, it needed to do so much more. In actual fact, it seems like they were either forced, I was going to say they've gone out of their way, but no, I actually think this was Disney forcing them, that they were not allowed to do anything that had any lasting effect or impact on the MCU. Yeah. Like, this is all not only self-contained from the MCU, it's almost self-contained from the other Deadpool movies.
Other than the TVA. Yeah. Other than the TVA. And, yes, separated from the other Deadpool movies. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to know, out of the 3 Deadpool movies that we've had, how would you rank them?
I think the first one's still the best.
So I'm with you. The first one is still the best. It's a toss-up for me now. I think this third one's more fun
Yeah.
than the second one,
Yeah.
but the second one had a better
Had more substance,
story
yeah.
and had more substance. Yeah, yeah.
And that's the big failing of this film, which gives me concerns for its long-lasting impact. It's just like you'll get. I think I could enjoy it quite a lot for a second viewing, but after that, I've heard all the jokes, I've seen all the cameos, and it's not really one that I'm going to see myself come back for a big emotional
Multiple
kind of
times.
like.
Well, just going back to what you said, would this movie save the MCU? I'm saying no. It's not. It's not going to save the MCU. Not from the damage that they've done. The only thing that we really get in this entire movie, and we were sort of talking about it on our way back from the theater, is the TVA. That's all you get out of the MCU. Everything else that you get in this movie is from the Fox universe.
Happy is the only other thing, really.
Yeah.
But in terms of cameos,
Yeah.
Like I asked Rhino, that's like, was there? How many cameos actually were from the MCU?
Yeah.
And
there's only one, and it's really Happy.
And that's it. All the other cameos are from past Marvel or Fox properties.
Yeah, correct.
Right? Where I'll avoid the spoilers as to who, but we'll say that.
We'll get into it.
That's what I mean. This is almost separated completely from the larger MCU, and so it's not. It has no lasting impact. But on the flip side, it actually does some things that make the MCU look bad, like embracing the comic book accurate depiction of certain superheroes, celebrating past characters and films that are not MCU, and reminding us like, yeah, that's a cool. I miss that character, right? It's cool seeing that character that we're never going to get in the MCU again, right? And as a result, like, this might help hasten the death of the MCU.
Well, the thing is that they do take shots at the MCU. They take shots at the MCU. They take shots at Blade. They take shots at a lot of the things that are going wrong in the MCU right now. They do take shots at, but it seems hollow. It doesn't, to me, it didn't come across as they recognize this and then they're going to fix it. It doesn't come across that way. It just comes across as they recognize it. They're taking some shots and that's pretty much it.
It felt like Ryan Reynolds teasing them.
Yeah.
And pointing out everything, not everything, but a lot of things that the general audience also knows about how the failings of the MCU, like his digs at the multiverse and stuff, right? But Disney and Marvel, they will not take anything.
No.
This is just Ryan Reynolds giving a voice to the audience, and that's what I mean about it's not only going to do no help to MCU, it actually harms it more because it exposes the weaknesses, shows the quality stuff that we've had in past films, and then it's teasing the MCU for its failings, revealing it to even more normies.
Just thinking about it, I actually think that Spider-Man No Way Home is a better movie than this.
I need to think about that because I didn't like No Way Home.
Fair enough. I think that the cameos and things that we got in Spider-Man No Way Home is actually better than this.
And there was more, I guess, respect given to the cameos that did appear.
100%.
And there felt like that there were arcs given to the other Spider-Men that were actually tied into their original stories.
Yep.
So there's more depth there, absolutely. A lot of the cameos here were just like, haha, that's the character, and they're being accurate to the character, but they don't have any arcs or depth or anything like that.
But also, too, I think about the story of No Way Home, and the reason why I'm sort of comparing it to No Way Home is because that's probably the biggest thing that we've had a lot of cameos in, or like the extra characters from other MCUs or other Marvel stuff. That the whole element of the story is paid off so much better, I feel, in No Way Home than it is in this.
Oh, there wasn't there was a story, but it was a pathetic story with no meaning, and you could expect that there's like a climax, a noble sacrifice thing at the end.
It sounds really bad. It is fun. It is a fun movie.
I laughed out loud.
It is a fun movie.
Fun, but like I said, there's no substance, and even the substance they try, it's all like fake. It's fake substance. The thing that they have to do at the end is arbitrary bullcrap. Just that the guy decided to spit out, you need to do this to do this.
Yeah, but...
And it made the sacrifice mean nothing.
It made the sacrifice mean nothing, but also, too, it Are we going to get into it?
Yeah. So
first of all, let me ask you this.
Okay.
What would you give it out of 10?
This is where I'm at. Okay. So I kind of need to do something weird. I need to do a separation of scores. The fun factor of this film was actually really high. And because of that, I think the film is going to do really well. But I don't think it's going to have any lasting impact because it's all smoke. Yeah, it's hot air. But the fun factor is like an 8, right?
Yeah.
An 8 out of 10 for the jokes. Ryan Reynolds nails it. Hugh Jackman just brings it. Like, he can bring it.
Yeah.
He has such
still got it.
gravitas. And there's a couple moments where he gives some deliveries where, like, when he gets stuck into Deadpool at one point and then just rips him to shreds verbally. That's like him at his A game. It was like, dude, there's a reason why he's such the perfect Wolverine, right? And so for those things, I could give it really high marks. But then for the failings of the story, the failings of the payoff and everything, I'm in like 2 out of 10 territory for how bad the story is.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't go that low, to be honest. I like the fun factor. Yeah, it's up there, 7 to 8. I'd probably be more pushing towards 8. It's like I said, I was able to sit there with a smile on my face nearly the whole time, had those laugh out loud moments.
And that's a credit. Like, how many films can we actually give that kind of acknowledgement, right?
But in regards to story, I probably wouldn't go as low as 2. I'd still be around that 3.
It's pretty bad. The TVA is awful.
Well, there's one particular moment in the story where I'm like, I don't know how that's supposed to work, and it's not really addressed or answered. And again, we'll get to it.
All right, well, let's get into it now. So we're diving into spoilers. That was our broad overviews, final summary. I think people will show up. You'll enjoy it.
Yep.
It's worth a watch. But now we'll break this down a little bit more. And so the film opens up pretty strong.
Yeah, well, it opens up with a fight. It's kind of like every Deadpool movie. It starts sort of at this certain point in time, and then we've got to go back in time to establish the story. And I like that. I like every Deadpool movie's been like that, where it goes back, it catches you up, and okay, you're all caught up. So, and then we move forward from there. But that opening scene...
it's him trying to dig up Logan's body. And this... Look, it opens really strong. It's irreverent, just like Deadpool. Good. And he says, are we going to be respectful to, the... No, we're not. We're just... And he literally digs up Logan's corpse and then uses his corpse as a weapon, beating up other people.
All the TVA. The TVA basically show up because they're chasing him. And again, it goes back in time, but they're chasing him at the moment. And he uses Wolverine's corpse, his adamantium skull or skeleton. All these bones, bones just being thrown around, thrown into people's chests. He straps on the claws for a moment. There's
one moment he grabs the spine and clubs someone with the head, and there's a close-up, and it's just like you see the rotted, dead, corpse of Wolverine. It's just like this is...
And the score's probably really good too. The music that they put on most of the fight scenes and things like that really do suit the movie.
Yeah, and at this point, I'm thinking, hey, if Deadpool is just going to be killing TVA, I'm on board.
Yeah.
All right, and so then there's the how did I get here kind of thing. Let's go back in time, and this is where things start to come apart.
Yeah.
I hate when films do this. They undermine the payoff of a previous film and just ruin. Wolverine has become Deadpool is a loser. Is working at a dead-end job, is broken up with his love of his life.
Which has been the story for the last 2 movies. I didn't like that. Yeah. Like, he's basically now estranged from Vanessa.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, we did skip something. I think the very next scene was actually him being interviewed by Happy.
Yeah.
And
now, this is the catalyst for the main plot of the story, is that he wants to become an Avenger so that he can prove himself to... Is her name Vanessa?
The girlfriend.
The girlfriend. Now, again, in the last movie, I thought that they were making a baby. I don't think she was actually pregnant yet, but they were definitely plans on having a child.
Everything was coming out. He's given up being a Deadpool. Well, it's weird, right? the through line seems to be that he wants to do something meaningful and he wanted to join the Avengers. But what's really bizarre about this, and people might say this isn't important. It actually is, right? How the hell did he jump universes? We know he had a time travel device and he had it on his hand there, but that didn't allow...
Well, it could be the Avengers, though, in his universe. Because it came up saying Earth 616.
Exactly, and then it goes to a different reality, which is his, 1001, where he's from. And so it is a different reality. They established.
But are there Avengers established in his universe?
I don't think there are. I think he just breaks the fourth wall mentioning them, but I don't think there's any Avengers in his... I don't know now.
But see, then the Logan Wolverine is in his universe.
That's what they're
That's what they're implying, isn't it? It's actually a little bit confusing.
That's what I mean.
And seeing it once, need to watch it again just to get a bit more context there. But in regards to the thing that happens with Happy is that he's saying that he wants to be a part of the Avengers. This is the way that he's going to be able to get his girlfriend back, and get his life back on track. And Happy's basically just referred to him in regards to the fact that he's doing it for selfish reasons. Mm-hmm. He needs to be a part of the Avengers, not because he wants to help people or anything like that. It's all a selfish thing for him, and how Happy basically knocks him back.
Yeah, and then Happy says you need to start lower, and that encourages him to get this pathetic, job.
Yeah.
No offense.
No. At a car, he's a car salesman, which is what I do. A pathetic job. Thanks, Shad.
Sorry. But for Deadpool is what I mean.
Job, absolutely,
exactly.
absolutely.
He should be doing Deadpool stuff, not working at a car sales job. And then he's there.
That's when you see him in the trailer with these hairs stapled on and all of that sort of thing. Yeah. And then it's his birthday. It's his birthday.
It's his birthday. Everyone's around.
There, and even his ex-girlfriend's there. That's another weird thing to me. The
reasons for the breakup that they give in flashbacks are really sad.
I really didn't like it too, because Deadpool is his wit and his charismaticness and everything, and the chemistry that they had as a couple was basically the main story, or the main catalyst for the first two movies, and now they've sort of separated them out of nowhere.
It really doesn't fit.
No.
Deadpool tried to kill himself when his girlfriend died. She meant that much to him, right? And so, and she would be willing to move anything to be with him, and then to have him that's this pathetic reason to break up because he's not really there. He's wanting something else. I hated that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't actually needed.
No.
I think it would have had more weight if his world was threatened with destruction, and he was in a strong relationship.
That's the thing. They didn't need to do that. So basically, it comes down to the fact that the Wolverine that died in Logan was the anchor.
Okay, we'll get there, because I have issues.
I have real issues with this too. But whether or not they were together or not together, it should have been enough for him to still want to... It would have actually meant more for him to want to save his universe.
Yeah.
Whereas it didn't mean anything. Basically, what it means is... I know that I'm sort of jumping forward here, but it goes from him wanting to be a part of the Avengers for selfish reasons to him doing stuff for others.
Yeah.
That's really the story at the end of it.
Well, it's sad and pathetic, because he wants to be a big superhero. He could just do that. He's got the suit, he's got the powers. And so none of that really fits in and makes sense with his choices or his actions here. And people might say, why are you taking this so seriously? It's a goofy comedy film, essentially. It's no, the previous films had that connection. That's what grounded the previous films, especially the first one.
Yeah.
Okay? And the fact that, this film is nothing really matters undermines so much.
Well, the second one also gave him the opportunity to be an X-Man. Colossus was always
trying to...
And basically, he agreed to Colossus in the last one. If Colossus helped him, he would audition for the X-Men. The door's always been open to him, and for this movie to start with him wanting to become a part of the Avengers, maybe because he got knocked back by the X-Men, we don't know. It leaves a bit of a hole there for me.
Yeah, and for me, it really doesn't work. I don't even think he should... He knows who the Avengers are because of the fourth wall thing, but the fact that he's going to go to another universe and try and join another universe Avengers, and they literally say Earth 616 and he's not from that Earth. It's like, it just does not fit or work.
No.
So then there's a knock at the door, the TVA appear.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be for the more logical reason that he... look, that would actually fit. He was messing with past timelines, and the TVA don't like that, and they were arresting him for it. Turns out they're not doing that, though.
No.
Like, can I ask you a question, right? What was his name again? The TVA guy.
Oh.
Cerberus or something like that? I don't know.
No, it wasn't Cerberus. It was,
the TVA guy.
We could look it up, but yeah, the main TVA guy, we'll call him.
What did he want with Deadpool?
He wanted to use Deadpool while his entire timeline gets erased. So everyone that Deadpool loves and knows is essentially the timeline is being erased.
For one of the dumbest reasons ever.
One of the dumbest reasons ever. And he wanted Deadpool to be an agent for them. I'm actually a little confused by that. I didn't even really think about that.
That's why I asked the question. Because the entire plot of the film is resting on this action, him bringing Deadpool to the TVA, and his reasons for doing it are retarded. In actual fact, he brings Deadpool there. Then
he says that he's important. Like there's some reason why he needs to stay alive, even though his entire universe is being wiped out. But it's never really explained.
They kind of hint at it that Thor is crying over him with the Avengers. That maybe
they never paid that off.
They don't. But maybe Deadpool actually has some role to play in another universe.
Yeah.
And he wants to ensure that, even though he is ready to destroy all timelines anyway. And this is where it's already retarded, right? But then he decides to bring Deadpool to him, then tell Deadpool, by the way, I'm going to destroy everything you love.
Yeah, I'm going to destroy
But then he's thinking, you should be fine with that and you're happy to work for me.
Yeah.
And it's just like how retarded do you have to be to think that Deadpool will be on your side.
And this is where they also introduce what it is that's destroying their timeline. And it's apparently in every timeline there's an anchor person. And that anchor person, if that person gets killed, the entire timeline gets wiped out. And that anchor person in this world is Logan. The Logan that sacrificed himself and dies. So his entire timeline is being wiped out because Logan died at the end of Logan, sacrificing himself, and he is the anchor person.
And then the entire universe is gonna fall apart. And
it's a good thing that hold on. It's a good thing that the anchor, the Wolverine that he takes from a different universe
is in the anchor universe
there, because he's gonna basically then starts trying to find Logan's. He punches the TVA guy in the nose, breaks his nose, takes his little device so that he can go and start looking for different Logans
to replace
the anchor Logan that was in his universe. And again, I don't know how that's supposed to work. Does he automatically become the anchor now in that universe again because he's just a Wolverine that he's been plucked from another? These are the questions, and this is the confusion that's actually created by this movie.
That's utter nonsense. And what's annoying about this is that there is any number of reasons that you could easily make up as a writer to explain why a universe is dying.
Yeah.
Okay? But for some reason, they couldn't think of a way to explain that and have Deadpool need Wolverine.
Yeah.
So they wanted, because that's how they're trying to connect Death of the Universe with Deadpool needing Wolverine. It's because Wolverine is missing, so therefore he needs to find a Wolverine.
Yeah.
And could have been any number of reasons, right? Like I don't know, some extra-dimensional evil entity that Wolverine killed in one universe, but because there's no Wolverine in his universe to kill it, that's going to destroy his universe, so he needs a Wolverine to kill this entity because he has just the right savagery or mentality or something to do it. And that would make sense, but instead they introduced this retarded mechanic that every universe has an anchor person.
Yeah.
And it's like, instead of treating these like parallel dimensions, they're actually treating them like narrative stories.
Yeah.
That if you take away the main character, there's no reason for that universe to exist. So
I just don't like it, because that means that in the multiverse, they're actually making the multiverse even more confusing, using bringing in these basic things like.
The thing about Disney is that they are going to forget about that mechanic completely. It's not existent.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the mechanic in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, where if a person from another reality comes into another reality, that reality starts to break apart because they're incompatible with it.
Yeah.
They forgot about that.
Yeah.
They don't give a crap about that mechanic anymore.
Yeah, well, Wolverine ends up staying in this universe. So it goes to a montage of Deadpool.
We'll get there, because I still like... Because what it means, right, is that mechanic is now only relevant for this movie, and it's nonsense even for this movie, and then they're going to forget about it. And it just shows... I find it interesting that even in this movie, which is mocking the MCU, it's still making the same type of mistakes that the MCU has been making.
It's still opening up more questions.
And so that's frustrating. And then the fact that this film, if anything, if there's any type of statement or impact it's supposed... And it's not really, but it, you could say about it having on the large MCU, is it validating the existence of the TVA, which is, I hate everything about the TVA. And
they don't even really close that off well.
No,
at the end of the movie.
The TVA doesn't...
They're still around. The TVA is still a thing. I mean, in all honesty, if this was supposed to be some sort of hard reset for the MCU...
Oh, it's not even close.
Not even close. But you would want to... One of the things that you would want to do is wipe out the TVA.
Oh, yeah. You want to get rid of that.
It would have been so good if at the end of this movie, they've done what they've done, and then they're like, all right, well, we're not going to have you guys meddling in the timeline anymore, and they enter into the TVA, and Wolverine and Deadpool just kill everyone.
Like
that would have been...
They had a mechanic, that like timeline snipping destruction device. Yeah. They should have set that off in the TVA and destroyed the entire universe of the TVA. And that means you don't have this retarded thing. Because I hate that... I've mentioned it. The TVA is insanely powerful. They can wipe out universes with a small device like this.
Yeah.
And they established that in Loki. It literally destroys universes. That's trillions upon trillions of actual individuals that they acknowledge die completely.
Well, it's more they're resetting the timeline, aren't
they? No, they confirmed it
wipes
kills
them out.
It is an actual death.
Yeah, okay.
Like, Loki season 2, man. Holy friggin' crap.
Yeah, I never watched it.
Oh, well, that's where they confirm it.
Right.
And someone sets off this thing that's killing all these timelines, and they look at all those people are dying. And then that set me off, because that means they knew that they were destroying universes when they were snipping timelines and stuff like that. It is.
I thought that was stupid in season 1, but I never got to season 2.
TVA is one of the most astronomically unfathomable evil entity organizations ever conceived in fiction.
Yeah, right.
It's insane. And so then they bring it back, and then they have the goal to propose them that they're doing something valuable to anything.
Yeah.
And then there's the issue with, because the TVA exists, they can just jump between realities at the drop of a hat. And so if a character dies, just replace it for another universe. You got the TVA, they can do whatever they want. Change the past, they can shove it out. But like, the TVA destroys any stakes you could have in this universe property franchise, right? It is one of the dumbest things Marvel has concocted.
Yeah.
And
the more I think about this movie, the less I'm actually liking it.
That's what I mean when you start to break this down, man. The story is bad. It's fun.
It's built on a house of cards.
Yeah.
It's flimsy. There's not a lot there.
Yep. And so Deadpool gets the TVA device, and you're right. He starts now. There's a montage of him.
There's a montage of him jumping to different universes to try and find a Wolverine to come back to his timeline to save his world.
And each one is basically made for comic relief. And I get that it's funny at times, especially the little comic book accurate, even though it's too short, but still it was like Wolverine is supposed to be a short person.
they made Hugh Jackman tiny, like 4 foot nothing.
The thing is, though, they were so desperate to make a joke out of every single interaction, I don't think Wolverine acts like Wolverine in any one of them, except the last one that he actually grabs.
Yeah.
He just decides to murder this guy in a mask every time he appears.
Well, I don't know. There'd be massive comic book fans out there that I'm sure have seen Like the one where he's pinned to the cross.
Yeah, they might know that one.
There'd probably be something relevant to that. There's... Oh, now the Henry Cavill.
Okay, yeah, that's funny. See that? The jokes are really good.
The Cavill, what did he call him? Henry
Cavill.
Yeah. So they bring in Henry Cavill. He is a Wolverine.
But then he does try and murder Wolverine. Sorry, Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like without too much of a
So yeah, he's going through. There's nothing really too much other than small little cameos of different Wolverines, and then we get to the Wolverine that he
and finds. Deadpool basically decides to grab him because he's the only one that hasn't tried to kill him, or effectively it's not either already dead, useless, not trying to kill him, and is basically, you're good enough, I'll use you.
Well, see, I thought that this was going to be the Wolverine that killed the X-Men.
Well, no, he wasn't that though.
It wasn't like it maybe would have been better if it was. And they definitely sort of teased that maybe it was for a while there until we get to the bit where Charles's sister gets inside his head and we actually see and hear what. Oh no, it's more the discussion that he has with X-23. Isn't it?
Yeah.
We sort of get the context for that around the campfire.
And he was away when they were attacked and they all died.
And then he comes back blind.
Yep.
And that was really it. So I would have liked it more if, and it probably would have been more emotional. There would have been more emotional weight to it if he was the Wolverine that killed him.
Yeah,
you know.
Another thing about the TVA, right? And again, they're so inconsistent because the TVA, bear in mind, they basically turned Loki into a pathetic joke. And one hit from their thing, Loki was done.
Yeah.
Like body positivity time cop lady, who is in this film, by the way, she knocks out Loki with a hit and just manhandles him, right? Loki. Think about how powerful Loki is. And in this film, like, they can't be consistent with anything. The TVA is supposed to be that insanely powerful, but then I liked seeing Deadpool carve him up. But still, technically, they're supposed to be way more powerful than that.
Yeah.
They can't be consistent with it. Anyway, Deadpool gets this Wolverine, brings him back to the TVA guy, and the TVA guy's like, no, that's not how this works. It's
where it kind of is in the end how it works, but he says that it's not how it works, and it's more so the fact that it almost comes across as this guy's the evil guy, right? He wants this world to end.
His motivations is... So, what it is Deadpool's universe will die in a few thousand years because the prime person, whatever, is gone. And that's going to take too long.
Yep.
And so he just wants to destroy it.
That's right.
In one hit with a universe-destroying bomb. That's his reasons for doing it. It's stupid.
It actually really is. The more you think about it, the stupider it gets. So, yeah, he's built this device that can wipe out the entire timeline.
So he doesn't have to wait around.
Within an instant. So he doesn't have to sit around the TVA while he waits for this timeline to disappear. It's like, okay, why is that so important to you? Like, why are you not trying to find a solution? Like, obviously Deadpool is.
That would be the... Like, if these people had half a brain, and the TVA is supposed to be a good organization, they would be trying to save universes.
Yeah.
But this guy is like...
Well, it almost comes across as he wants to destroy the universe because he wants to use the Deadpool for... I can't even remember what it is.
They don't establish. They hint that it's because it's going to be important in the Prime.
Something.
Because he's basically offering Deadpool to be part of the Prime.
Yeah.
The
Prime timeline, the main timeline that they pretty much wiped out in Loki season 1. And I don't know whether or not, like, is this supposed to now be taking place before Loki season 1?
It's after Loki
season 1?
It's after, because the body positivity time cop lady is in charge, right? And
well, that's true.
And so it's after season 2. Season 2, oh gosh.
I don't even really want to get into Loki because I hated the first season.
So, like, the Prime timeline still exists, and supposedly at the end, the multiverse is allowed to exist, and Loki is sitting at the center of all realities holding the multiverse together.
Right.
Loki becomes the most powerful entity in all realities.
Right.
which is really weird because it also means he could like fix this timeline just with like a decision. Like no timeline should be if the timeline's dying, Loki's there literally holding the timeline.
Well, see, this is the whole thing about them creating this anchor thing. Like there's one being in each universe that's an anchor for that timeline. If that person goes, then the timeline disappears and that multiverse disappears. And that's where it's like, okay, this isn't anything that they've established before. This is
made up arbitrary crap for this film because they couldn't think of a better reason to explain why Deadpool's universe is dying.
And why he's got to go and find a Wolverine.
Yeah. And there could have been a much better answer that gave a more satisfying threat and made it more desperate and also have more substance to Deadpool then being on this quest to save his timeline and find Wolverine.
Yeah.
Seems like this comical nonsense, arbitrary whatever. That's the reason. And the guy doing it, like, he just doesn't want to wait around a few thousand years. He's bored. And he wants to show that TVA can be more efficient.
Yeah.
And he also, for some reason, wants this Deadpool on the prime timeline, even though, like, by trying to recruit Deadpool, he has now caused the very thing that Deadpool now trying to stop him from doing what he actually wants. When there's like thousands of Deadpools he could have picked. And the fact that he even told Deadpool, by the way, I'm going to destroy your universe really quickly. I'm sure you're going to be okay with that. Like, is he retarded?
Yeah.
Like, it's really dumb.
It is.
And so Deadpool comes back with Wolverine saying, I got the Wolverine. That's not how it works. And there's funny jokes, like he was making fun of the guy looking at him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And is this where they get teleported to?
Yeah, so they get blasted away or eliminated to the void. Mm-hmm. So if you remember, like Loki, when they hit them with those sticks and they disappear, they end up going to the void. So they go to the void and they have let me just say this. The fights...
They're great.
I think they're really good.
They're fun.
I actually really enjoyed the fights. That first fight when they first go to the void between Wolverine, I mean, you saw a lot of it in the trailers, but they are fun to watch. They're really, really good. I think a lot of the CGI in this movie looked really good all the way through. There wasn't too much that I didn't like.
The thing that undermines is, like, this fight... There wasn't really any significant importance to
No, it was just because they were both sort of pissed off with each other that they sort of started fighting, which I think for Wolverine and Deadpool and the way Deadpool is, I think it was fine. It's like when that fight started, when Wolverine started like...
Yeah. The thing is, like,
great.
The fight in the car had more weight.
I think the fight in the car was one of the best fights.
All right, because that... Like, Wolverine had a lot more reason to be pissed at Deadpool at that moment. And it had, I reckon, even a better payoff than just laying into each other, where this fight is just because they wanted to fight.
Yeah.
There wasn't a real good reason. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch.
And this is the fight that ends with Wolverine having two katanas, one in both sides, and the knife in the shoulder that you see in the trailer when he's about to fight Sabretooth and he rips all the swords out and everything.
Yep.
So that's the result of that fight. And then we get our first cameo.
Yeah, and
What do you think about this?
Look, I liked it.
I liked it too.
They bait and switch. They make you think it's Captain America because it's... What's his face?
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. But it's actually the Human Torch.
The Human Torch, yep.
And his back.
So this is the thing too with the Void, is that means that the 20th Century Fox is in the Void. Basically, it's indicating that they've wiped it out. They've wiped out the entire Fox thing using the TVA.
Basically, everything that's not Marvel is
in the Void. Yeah.
See what I mean about like this isn't really helping Marvel's longevity.
No,
right? It's like they're showing this is the ultimate end for many of the heroes that you loved. They're in this end of.
But yeah, you do think for ages. Even I said to Shad while we're watching it, Cap's here, and he's got the colours on and stuff like this. He's got this robe thing on, and then that's when Sabretooth and Toad and. What's the chick's name?
Lady Deathstrike? Is that the one with the claws?
I saw her. I don't think. No, she was on one of the cars. There was also the one that's got the purple.
Oh, Psylocke.
Psylocke.
She didn't really get a good appearance. They
no.
did Psylocke dirty in this one. But Psylocke was done dirty in the Fox X-Men films as well.
all of it.
Like, they never did Psylocke
Well,
right,
she was only in...
Psylocke is such an awesome character if they do it right.
Yeah.
She's a flippin' ninja.
So they all sort of show up on their cars and stuff. It's got that...
Mad Max.
A Mad Max feel, and there is a Mad Max Furiosa reference in there. And then we get the face-off between Wolverine and Sabretooth.
I liked how it ended. Wolverine just...
It was so quick.
Cuts his head off, bang, done.
They run past each other, he cuts his head off, and it's done. And then Deadpool picks up his head and starts talking about Furiosa and stuff.
So, and like I said, a lot of the Deadpool lines are legitimately funny. And so if you, like... that's why I think you could enjoy it just for a laugh based on the gags in it.
Yep.
But when you look at the substance, there's nothing there.
People I can't even remember a lot of the jokes. Like, I remember laughing at them.
They come pretty fast.
Yeah.
So, like, in some of those lines, and then as soon as you're recovering from one, he hits you with another one.
Yeah.
And some are legitimately good.
How did they capture them in the end?
So, well, before that, right, some people were thinking that this was a bait and switch, that it wasn't actually going to be Sabretooth, that it might be the Hulk or something like that, because it's the biggest matchup ever. Hang on. I think we see the Hulk briefly.
Yeah, we do. Where did we see the Hulk?
It was something... Oh, I think when he's trying to get Wolverines, he goes to a Wolverine that's about to fight the Hulk, and the Hulk just smashes
that's
him.
Right. Yeah. That's yeah.
I think that's the only other MCU character
But you don't see the Hulk. You only see a part of the Hulk.
Deadpool says, "Oh, this is from Wolverine issue, whatever, where Wolverine fights the Hulk," and then he basically gets killed or has to leave that universe. Very few appearances of anyone from the MCU, as we mentioned, and so they get captured by a giant magnet.
That's right. So yeah, they've got a massive magnet that they open up that pulls Wolverine into Deadpool, and then there's a big thing that comes and smashes them and knocks them out.
Yeah.
And then they wake up in a cage, like in the back of a trailer sort of thing, on the back of a car, and Deadpool, Wolverine, and Johnny Storm's in there.
And there's good funny lines and stuff. They get taken to and I don't really consider this a cameo, the fact that it's the corpse of Ant-Man, but it's the corpse of Ant-Man. You saw it in the trailers, and turns out that this is where you're introduced with the antagonist that they were teasing the film, the bald-haired lady. Turns out she's the sister to Charles Xavier.
I can't remember her name now.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
It'll come to us when we're finished recording.
Mm-hmm. There's an interesting conversation where they're trying to find out a way to get free so they can save the universe, and she's like, I have a way to get you, but I don't want to because I'm evil. Thing is, though, I actually kind of liked her I'm evil just because I'm evil kind of thing. Like, even when they're threatening her life at the end, how she was just laughing and stuff like that. Her villainousness was kind of growing on me.
Yeah,
like
I think she just enjoys ruling the Void.
Yeah,
because she is probably the most powerful one. I mean, when they first get there, Deadpool's talking about how Johnny Storm was bad-mouthing her the whole time, and that was actually pretty funny. And then she just rips the skin off Johnny Storm.
Just kills him. Johnny Storm is
Johnny Storm's just
murdered
done.
Unceremoniously. Yep. But look, it fits for Deadpool. Deadpool is not here to give honor and respect to past characters. Yep. He literally killed people with the corpse of Wolverine at the beginning of the film.
Yep.
And so I can't really fault it for it just destroying. It did give me Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness vibes, where it introduces characters that you might want to see more and then just kills them off. But this is Deadpool. I kind of expected it.
It was fine. And again, you see a lot of the you see Azazel. Or Zazel?
I couldn't keep track of everyone. I recognize a number of them, but there was people that I didn't recognize.
Did nothing with like characters like Azazel. Like there's a fight scene that comes up where there was probably my favorite moment, but we'll get to it. But you don't really see the villains, the villain mutants You don't get to see them use their powers to the best of their ability. You get to see some of the good guys once they've recruited those guys and they go back there, which we'll get to again. But and they do like a slow-mo thing for each one of those characters so that you can see them use their powers.
And I think those were mostly served well. We'll get there.
Yeah.
In this one, there's just a lot of like random characters. Yeah, like there's Lady Deathstrike there. We see Toad a couple of times. They have an argument with the bald-haired lady. Deadpool does kind of like distract her, get Wolverine to stab her. Doesn't really work. And then another annoying thing. The evil death fart cloud from Loki is back.
That's in the void.
And I thought that was all resolved from the Loki series, but no.
I don't know, because I didn't watch season 2.
It's all here, and it's doing the same thing, so nothing what really happened in Loki matters.
No.
Par for the course for, like, Marvel. And she is going to feed Deadpool and Wolverine to the fart cloud. And then Wolverine, was it like the leg of a sentinel? It's like this giant leg.
Yeah, it was like something.
But it's a rocket.
It's a rocket thing, and they basically just shoot out of there.
Yeah. Much easier to escape from the fart cloud monster than in Loki. That thing was unavoidable, but it turns out in this version of the Void, because Marvel can't be consistent with anything, there's some really nice, peaceful, idyllic places in this supposed a barren hellscape.
Yeah. And it's almost like the fart cloud monster thing allows them to be there as long as they feed it.
It seems like that. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. It's just another arbitrary thing. And they end up like walking to a diner because they're hungry. They have a bit of a conversation. This is where they try and go into some of the backstory of this Wolverine. And this is what annoys me. Hugh Jackman, he brings the gravitas to it. But it's all meaningless. I have no investment in this Wolverine. I don't really care. I haven't seen his past. He's not a Wolverine we know about. We don't care about the characters he lost. We don't even know if he's going to get it back.
Do we even get the line from the trailer where he says, can you put your mask on while you're eating? And he's like, it's really hard to eat without my mask on. When my mask's on. And he goes, it's really hard to eat with it off. You know that? Yeah. I don't remember that line being
I don't remember that being in the film. But it's
from that part of the trailer.
But Wolverine shares some of his backstory, and even with it being built on toothpicks and not being invested, damn, he still pulls like he's so intense, and he can.
Again, it's after watching something like The Acolyte, where you've got people that can't emote and people that can't act, and you see Wolverine. Or you see Hugh Jackman back in the role, and he's emoting really, really well and able to act. It makes a massive difference.
We all knew this from the trailer, but the suit looks friggin' amazing. Yep. And when he puts the mask on,
oh man,
it was a bit surreal, because there's a moment when he bursts through the back of the bus, him and Deadpool, and they do that pose moment, and it's the perfect Wolverine pose with the mask on. It felt like comic book coming alive, and I'm just wondering, why the hell hasn't anyone done this already? This is insane. It looks so good. I just need to mention
that's a moment jumping a fair bit ahead, but definitely. Sorry, just quickly, there was another bit too at the TVA where he shows Deadpool some of the things on the screen, and he accidentally sees an image. It seems that it was accidentally shown to him of Thor crying over Wade's dead body or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's sort of this thing that sort of comes up even closer to the end of the movie, where he wants to know why Thor's crying over him. So just thought I'd throw that in there as well.
There's a note here. I'm glad I remember, because talking about the outfit, one of the most both savage and greatest lines, I think, from Deadpool was they're talking about like he's wearing the outfit, and Deadpool says, he's usually shirtless, but he let himself go after the divorce. Because that's a dig at
that's right.
Hughes' actual divorce in real life. I was just like, oh.
But then even later, like there's near the end of the movie,
he
gets ripped off anyway, and he's like, man, he looks ripped.
So there are some hilarious moments, and there's better setup and payoff in the jokes than there are in the story.
100%.
And so there's that background scene with them in the diner, and I'm not sure if it jumps to another scene with the TV agent, people just talking about something or anything, because after that, then they're walking over like green hills and they run into pretty Deadpool, the good-looking Deadpool.
Oh, that's right.
Unless we missed something in between.
No, I don't think so. Well, this is where we first see the dog.
Yeah,
the dog with the dog pool. And the owner of Dogpool is a feminist Deadpool. And it is kind of funny. They do take some good shots in there, some great jokes in there, but it is feminist Deadpool. He's got a pretty face and the long hair. I'm
trying to remember the setup of his woke mob line, because it was something about, oh, that's going to upset the woke mob, woke mob or something like that. And I think it was he's making fun of the treatment of one of the female characters, if it was the female version of Charles Xavier or something like that. But there was a couple of just funny lines that I don't think is pandering. It's just him making fun of culture stuff and silly things. But yeah, so
they call him Nice Pool
or something like that, and it's just Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds being nice with long hair.
Yeah,
and he calls himself a feminist. So there's that.
I'm remembering his end, how Nice Pool ends.
Yeah.
So we'll get there. So he gives them a car, and Deadpool just craps on the car, but I actually think this is legitimately a product placement. Because they mention the brand multiple times.
Kia.
And they set it up that he craps on it, but then after they use it a bit, is like, this thing rocks or something like that. I was like, I think it was funny. It worked.
Kia Carnival. Yeah.
But it's when they're in that car and they're driving that Deadpool and Wolverine have one of the more significant arguments. And this is, I mentioned the line previously, so Wolverine gets stuck into Deadpool, mate, you're a joke, you're all this and everything, but the delivery by Hugh at that is full on, delivers it so well, and it's savage. He just like verbally
basically says that Deadpool is a deadbeat, really sticks it to him. And it's funny because Wolverine from his timeline is exactly that too.
Well, what triggers it, right? Deadpool has been promising Wolverine that he can save Wolverine's timeline.
Yeah.
Which I actually think he could have.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
With time travel, he would be able to do it. He's done it in his own thing. And so I don't understand when he says, like, we might be able to do it. But he says, like, if we get back, we might be able to save your timeline. And
he's like, say that again? He's like, we'll be able to save your timeline or something. He repeats the last thing. He goes, no, before that. And he goes, if. And then he hits the brakes, and that's when all-out brawl, basically.
He says it was a educated wish.
Educated wish, yeah.
And Wolverine loses it.
Yeah.
Yeah, does the verbal delivery, and it's just perfect Wolverine, right? And that's what I mean, like, I'm not sure who you could replace Hugh with that, because that is just done,
Even seeing the Henry Cavill cameo of Wolverine, like, I don't know. I don't think I'd like it as much as I thought that maybe you could do it.
And do you think he'll come back as Wolverine?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It'd be the same cameo sort of thing as Reed Richards in...
See, my concern is that he's shown in this film how perfect he is for Wolverine. He is the perfect Wolverine, right? Yeah. That delivery was so well and the film is going to do huge numbers. Disney will probably offer him a lot of money, and it's up to him if he wants to.
Yeah.
I think, because if he was willing, and Deadpool teases him for it as well. It's like, you're going to be in that role until you're 90 years old. So I don't know. I don't know
either. Yeah. Where were we?
Well, they have a fight.
This fight in the car is like really good. Again, like a lot of the fights, a lot of the action in it, I thought was actually pretty good.
And then they basically knock each other out.
Yeah.
And we see Wolverine like wrapped up in the belts and everything.
No, that was Deadpool.
So sorry, Deadpool, you're right.
Wrapped up in the
and Wolverine is there, but then a mysterious person arrives, hops in the car, drives them to undisclosed location, and they wake up in a bunker of some type. And this is where we're introduced to some
cameos.
Of the larger cameos that have a little bit more weight and meaning to it. And the first cameo is Elektra. I think.
Yep.
And then comes in
Blade.
Yep. And then comes in a comic book accurate Gambit, played by Channing Tatum.
And the way he talks as well, like, I mean, I'm a massive Gambit. Gambit's my favorite X-Man.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I felt about seeing him. I thought that he did the voice well enough.
I think they lean into the
accent.
Is it called a Cajun slang or something like that?
Yeah, it's French.
And so they lean into it so much that not only can Deadpool not understand it at times, I have trouble understanding it as the audience. Yeah. And Deadpool's like, I did not understand a single thing he said. And then Deadpool teases him for it. Yeah. And this is all hilarious. It's funny.
And while all this is happening too, Hugh or Wolverine's just in the background drinking a bottle of Jim Beam.
Yeah. And there is one last cameo.
And there's one last cameo that they sort of don't reveal straight away. They say that there's 4 of them and there's only 3 of them. And then X-23 rolls in. And it was X-23 that was the one that saved them. Or, drove the car.
And I didn't really care about seeing X-23. I think they didn't do the character... Like, Logan was great, but she was more of a side character. Because I've read the X-23 comic books, and it was actually not bad. Yeah. I enjoyed it. And they didn't do anything from the comic books, and it's like, so...
But they also didn't... So, the fight that breaks out with those characters, it's probably one of the weaker ones for me. Because they didn't show... in... Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Right? When they're protecting that thing and the camera's sort of spanning around and you get to see the Hulk like in slow-mo in action. You get to see all the characters as it's going around, all of them in action in one way, shape or form, using their abilities, using their powers. Now, they do have a moment in there of that with all of these characters, but it wasn't enough for me.
Yeah, I have issues with the fight scene with them. But going back to the introduction of the characters...
because we're not there yet.
Well, there's discussion, there's good jokes, and they do bring back, like, Wesley Snipes. He's back as actual Blade.
And that's where they make a joke about Blade. Is like, I'll be the one and only Blade, or something
there's only one Blade, I'm the only Blade. That felt like an actual... like dig with bite against Marvel because they haven't been able to get the next Blade movie off the ground. And like I'm so confused, like he's still got it. He could just have Wesley Snipes as Blade, but it's like no, they got to replace him because they want it in the MCU. You can still do it. Just cast him again. He did great as Blade. But they also, what's her name as Elektra? I forget her name, but she's back as Elektra. She was the actress who did it in Daredevil.
They even mentioned a Daredevil.
They mentioned Daredevil that is dead, and she's like, I'm okay. Because is she divorced to him?
Yeah. They're no longer together, so she's okay with that. There was that joke in there.
And there's a good build-up when Deadpool like gets enthusiastic about, we're going to do it, everything like that. And Wolverine's like, you're all going to die or something. And he turns like, read the room.
Yeah.
It's just good.
So they're all hyping each other up to basically go back to where Charles's sister is because she's the only way that can get them back to essentially their timeline or any universe out of the void. So they're all getting hyped up. And Wolverine does turn around and say to them, you're all going to die. And then this is where we get a bit more substance again in some of the story, where Wolverine's just sitting around a campfire and X-23 comes out. And he's just, by the end of the conversation, it's just him mentioning that he's not the right person and her saying, well, you're never the right person.
But he still stepped up, essentially, is the context of it. And so then... the next scene, there might still be another break to show TVA, I forget. But anyway, they assault the base with the lady. Now, this one is, I'm with Rhino here, where I'm not entirely sold on it because I thought they had some really OP characters there. One that I definitely recognize is Juggernaut.
Yeah.
And
they did nothing with him.
He gets killed like a friggin'
bitch.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know how they took the helmet off his head. Because they need to take the helmet off his head so that they can put it on the Charles' sister's head. Let's just call her female Charles. Yeah. So they can put it on her head so that she cannot read all their minds.
But she could kill everyone in an instant.
Oh, because it gets explained that she killed Magneto and destroyed his helmet. So she was the one that killed Magneto.
And her power is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, she can literally kill any one of them with a thought.
Yeah.
That she showed that she could do it, but she decides not to help out her henchmen that are getting slaughtered. And even with the henchmen, right? Like Colossus from the X-Men franchise there, right? And X-23 just chops his feet off. And I'm like, I thought he was invulnerable.
Yeah.
Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
So it felt a bit inconsistent. Look, the fighting is fun. It's action-packed. Big blast going off. You get to see Gambit really kick some
Gambit.
butt.
That was again, being that Gambit's my favorite character. I loved him. He does his move where the cards sort of start coming up and they're all glowing, and then he starts sticking them in people, and then he turns around and they all just go pop, 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 pop.
That's cool.
That was really cool.
There's a bait and switch where you think Wolverine hasn't come with him because he wasn't on board, but then he is. He comes out of the back of the car and they all doing the fighting. And Wolverine and Deadpool jump to try and fight the lady while the others are fighting everyone else. The power scale's completely off, but it's fun, and so you're still enjoying it, even though it's not really justified that they're kicking so much. But they get inside, and she just basically... I don't know why she doesn't kill him, though, but she knocks Deadpool out. Instantly.
Yeah.
Doesn't decide not to kill him because, whatever, plot. And then she decides to...
get inside Wolverine's head. She basically mentions that there's heaps of Deadpools here in the Void, right? They keep getting wiped out by the TVA and sent to the Void, but it's very rare that they ever get, or I think it's the first time that they've ever had a Wolverine there. So... she gets inside his head and kind of just taunts him in a way.
Yeah,
like
I don't know why she's
really
doing
know
this.
what the purpose of it is.
She promises him that she can remove
the voices in his head. The problems that he's had in regards to his life and what he caused to happen.
So it seems like she might want to recruit him. That's why she's doing it. But while she's doing that, Deadpool, of course, isn't dead because she didn't kill him because she was... I don't know. She the maniacal murdering switch was turned off in that instant where she killed... Johnny Storm without a thought.
Yeah.
Decides to leave Deadpool alive for him to put the helmet on her, which blocks her powers.
Yeah.
And so she let it happen, basically.
And that's really the only time that we actually see... Oh, I can't remember. You mentioned her name before. The one with the purple.
Oh, Psylocke.
Yeah, Psylocke. She gets a whip out and she whips X-23, who jumps up there to try and give the helmet to them to be able to put it on her. And she gets pulled down and she throws the helmet back up there. Deadpool grabs it and puts it on her head.
So the conversation...
But before that, Pyro from the X-Men universe is there, and he is one of female Charles's henchmen, right? And
because there are a couple of in-between scenes.
Yeah, he
where
contacts...
he is talking with the TVA guy, and is an agent there for unspecified reasons to keep an eye on her because the Charles' sister has an arrangement for some reason, don't know why, with the TVA that she gets to rule there if they don't bother her, I think is the reason.
Yeah, so he then gives, the TVA guy gives Pyro permission to go and kill her, and the way he kills her, I didn't like it. He uses a gun. Mm-hmm. It's like when she's got the helmet on, so she's unable to now heal herself or stop the bullets or, get inside people's heads or anything like that. He just shoots her.
So the conversation leading up to that, I actually found comical in a good way, where she's like, if you want me to send you back, I need to use my powers, which means you've got to take the helmet off. And as soon as you take my helmet off, I'm going to kill you. And she's got this maniacal glee about it, which is actually funny. And this is where I started to like her as a villain. She's like, just evil.
But then that flips straight on its head as soon as Wolverine starts talking about Charles.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, well, Charles wouldn't want... If Charles knew that his sister was there, Charles would move heaven and earth to save her. Right? And he explains that, and then he's basically just saying Charles wouldn't want you to, like, me to allow you or just watch you to die. So let's remove the helmet. And then that flips her on a dime.
Yeah, so what happens is, because she gets shot, right, by Pyro, then they kill Pyro or something like that. Because is that where he dies? I think it's,
No, he doesn't get killed.
What happens to him after he shoots her?
No, remember. He gets knocked out by Wolverine.
Okay. And then she's now the bad guy is shot and she's dying, and Wolverine chooses to save her life because that's the noble, heroic thing to do, and almost in gratitude for saving her life, but also she is kind of like an entity of chaos. She just does whatever the hell she wants.
Yeah.
I can go with the fact that, okay, you saved my life. I was going to say I was going to kill you, but I don't think she was convinced by Wolverine's noble speech, but it was more just on a whim, like, sure, whatever, you know. And she brings out a sling ring from
Well, she says
Doctor
that she
Strange.
killed Doctor Strange, and yeah, she pulls out a sling ring, and then she
just
basically
makes a
tells
MCU sorcerer portal that teleports Wolverine and Deadpool back to Deadpool's universe.
Yeah.
His actual universe.
Yeah.
And then...
But see, when they get back there, the TVA's are already there, and they're trying to set up this thing that's going to wipe out that timeline, the thing from prior. Mm-hmm. Are we missing something?
I'm trying to think, because there's a couple of stages where after she sends them back, right, she decides, the TVA betrayed me, so now I'm going to go to the TVA.
Oh, no, that's right, because she finds out from Pyro.
Yeah.
So she finds out from Pyro that the main guy, he's been in contact with the main guy, and the main guy gave him permission to kill her.
Yeah.
So then she's like, no, I'm not having this, and she goes to that timeline as well.
And she goes to the TVA, and she's going to use the TVA's bomb that the guy was making to destroy Deadpool's universe quicker, to destroy all the universes. The entire multiverse is going to be destroyed.
But then she also lets in all the other Deadpools.
I know, and I'm trying to figure out why. I think it's because Deadpool and Wolverine are still planning on stopping it, and so she sends the Deadpools to stop them.
Yeah, well, she then wants to... Basically, how it sort of comes to a conclusion, not really to a complete conclusion, but how it comes out is that female Charles wants to take control of the machine that they've used to wipe out the timeline, that timeline, and she's going to put her power into it or use it to enhance her power to be able to wipe out all the timelines, so all that exists is the void, and she can control everything that happens in the void because she is the most powerful being. So she's got no limits then, basically, is like what it really comes down to. So she brings in all the Deadpools, and that's where you see female Deadpool, you see cowboy Deadpool, you see all the Deadpools, they all come in. And that's when you get the scene from the trailer again with the Madonna music.
Yeah, I think she even appears in Deadpool's universe briefly because isn't she the one that like launches them back through the window and they get smacked into the other end of the street? I think so.
The female Deadpool?
No, the
female Charles.
Old lady. Yeah, female Charles. Because I think she appears briefly, and that's how they find out that she's going to destroy everything.
I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure she's the one that like she uses her power and knocks them through the window.
Yeah.
And then she leaves, and then all the Deadpools are back to do their thing. And so this leads up to a big action
That's right, yeah. So she's going inside the head of the TVA guy.
That's right.
And then she wants to, she's basically figured out what he's doing, and that's how she finds out about the machine. And she flicks Wolverine and Deadpool, and they go through the front of that store, and then she allows all the other Deadpools to come in to basically be her new henchmen in this world. So I don't know whether or not she's controlling all those Deadpools or not.
I think they just... good question. But the order of events is the TVA guy appears and confronts Deadpool and Wolverine for coming back, and then she appears and then mind rapes him.
Correct.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And then she goes off to do the TVA thing. Wolverine and Deadpool now know that, the TVA is going to... There's something bad's happening there, but now all the Deadpools are here and they got to fight.
And I got to say, out of all the fights, this one was the weakest.
It had the most... the least amount of substance, because... I don't know why
the thing that annoyed me about it, though, is because this is the scene where Wolverine pulls over the cap.
And it looks great!
And puts the thing on, and you get a cheeky line from Deadpool in regards to him having the ears or something.
Yeah, like, and he's a bit... He's catty when he's jealous. And, and stuff.
So he pulls that over, and man, it looks great. It really does look good. But then it's almost like... Did you ever play Double Dragon? The video game?
Yeah.
Back in the day?
Because there is
or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, or the old Simpsons game. It's basically just a constant side view. You never get a 360-degree view until you get to the back of the bus. But the whole time, It is them sort of coming into the foreground, going into the background, swapping over, taking out all of these Deadpools. They go through the middle of the bus, and then they come out of the bus. Again, looks great with Wolverine like jumping out with his claws out. That looks fantastic. But it was just that side view for the whole time. It kind of annoyed me a little bit.
I found it very fun. There's no substance to it because why are the Deadpools helping him out? The power scales are completely off as well because like one Deadpool should be as strong as our Deadpool.
Yeah.
But all these other Deadpools are cannon fodder.
Yeah.
And Deadpool, they mentioned that they can regenerate, but they don't regenerate for ages.
Oh, that's actually the funny thing, is the only Deadpool that can't regenerate is the nice Pool. And the feminist Deadpool, which I thought was so funny because our Deadpool, uses him as a human shield, and he's like, how fast do you regenerate? And he's like, regenerate?
What's that?
What is that? And he's like, Wolverine's like, you just murdered him, like going off at him. And then he uses him again as a human shield, and his head blows off, and that's the end of that Deadpool.
Because he says, you're gonna pull through this or something like that. That's when the head blows up, and it's look, it's funny. Like there's a lot of funny moments.
Oh, right? The other bit too is like they're all shooting at Deadpool, who's holding the feminist Deadpool or the nice Deadpool, and Wolverine, like he's now over the other side, and Wolverine, he's got the dog pool, and he just puts the dog pool up, and they all stop shooting. All the Deadpools stop shooting, and he literally just walks across holding the dead dog pool.
And it's funny, but it's all, again, it's undermined by like silly things, because all the Deadpools come back alive, ready to fight again, and then the guy with the mustache arrives.
Peter.
And they all stop fighting because they like Peter.
So Peter, every Deadpool's got a Peter. And if you remember, Peter was from... Was it Peter?
Number 2. Yeah, he's
the guy, Peter or Bob?
I don't know, but it's the same guy. It's the guy with the mustache.
Yeah, the guy with the mustache. Am I thinking it's
I forget
Peter.
his name.
Anyway, it's the guy that's got no powers from Deadpool 2. They're all the Deadpools get excited, and then that stops their attack, and they just want to hang out with him. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It was it was fun, flashy. You got to see Wolverine carve a lot of people up. Like
I still don't know why all the Deadpools attacked him. Why did they want to stop?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah. So then, Deadpool and Wolverine go to the TVA. I forget how they get to the TVA. Maybe.
Well, they just go down there. They basically saw the girl take, while her hand's in his head.
Because they go down like a subway.
Yeah, subway station.
Was it literally just down those stairs?
Yeah, literally down those stairs.
Because I guess they need to set off the bomb in Deadpool's universe, so they set it up in that, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
So they get there, they confront the guy, and the guy explains that the TVA guy, there's no way to stop it. Oh, wait, there is a way to stop it, and it's just arbitrary nonsense. Matter and antimatter power the device, combine them, which should cause an insanely big explosion, but it doesn't. But it's nonsense. It's just...
But in doing that, because you're connecting through your body, you become a fuse that connects the matter and the antimatter, and that's going to make you disappear.
It's bypassed the compressor level of nonsense where nothing of it's just arbitrary. They made it up, and that's why the final scene is forced, where it turns out one of them is going to need to sacrifice themselves because whoever completes the connection, it's going to destroy you completely,
disintegrate them.
There's no coming back from it. It's dead, and.
So they make their arguments. This is where they then make their arguments of who's going to be the sacrifice, the sacrificial lamb. And Deadpool starts off by saying, it'll be me, right? Mm-hmm. And then Wolverine pulls out the picture of his family and says, no, you've got all of this to live for. I've got nothing. It'll be me. And then Wolverine goes to get into the room, and Deadpool tricks him and kicks him out of the room, closes the door, and locks it.
And look, there's some funny moments with him teasing, like, I'm going to do it and stuff like that. He makes some jokes at the door. And then he tries to complete the circuit, but he can't reach the other end.
Yeah, so he busts into one side. He's trying to pull the circuit to try and get to the other circuit, and he's not quite making it. And we're seeing the percentage of the universe being wiped out.
Not just this universe. This is all realities.
All universes. That's
all
right.
Realities.
It gets down to like 1% at one point in time, because it's almost the way that I perceived this was So Wolverine breaks his way into the room, and at the very last minute he connects hands with Deadpool and uses his claws to break into the other circuit.
And so this moment, right? I both hate it and love it, because the moments of self-sacrifice of the heroes, and they do the music and they make it actually appear like it matters.
Yeah.
Yet underneath it all, it doesn't at all. It's just this arbitrary plot device that they decided to purposely force in to force this scene to happen.
The other thing that didn't make sense to me, actually, just on thinking about it, is that female Charles has got the matter and the antimatter in each of her hands.
She can just
she's I don't know what she's doing to the room. She's basically just destroying all timelines.
Loki season 2, when a universe just starts to die, it spaghettifies, and that's what you'll see.
Right.
Okay. Everything was spaghetti.
Okay, so everything was spaghettiing, but she had the connections to both the matter and the antimatter, but yet nothing's happening to her. She's getting what she wants.
She can just do it. With the device and her powers for unspecified reasons, she can destroy all realities.
Yeah.
So,
despite the fact that we're told that if you connect those two things together and you become a connection between those two things, you're going to disintegrate. But then it almost, like I said, it almost becomes a fight over wills, really.
Yeah.
It's the will of Wolverine and Deadpool versus the will of Charles's sister.
Yeah.
And
the percentages
are
going
like this, up and down, and then all of a sudden Wolverine just goes raw, and he rages,
and his shirt comes off, and there's a close up of the abs, and Deadpool looks over.
Hey, look at that. So there are, again, there's some good funny moments. There's some good fun in it, but
and then Charles' sister blows up.
They save the day.
Well, and they try and bait that Wolverine
dead.
and Deadpool are dead. The body positivity time cop lady returns, and she is interrogating the guy, and the guy's trying to save his own rear end. They sacrifice themselves, they're dead, and then Deadpool says a line, "We're alive," or something like that, and he's like, "Crap, they're alive." And then they come back, they celebrate.
What do they do to him? Does the time
I don't know.
TVA
he's arrested.
guy?
He's thrown in.
I can't remember.
Thrown
now.
in time jail. There's a hilarious line by Deadpool saying, "Get a shirt on," and he calls him a slut or something like that because he's always got his top off. And there are a lot of funny lines like that.
A lot of good moments.
It's just nothing matters.
No.
And that's kind of it.
Yeah.
He mentions that I can't save your universe now. Wolverine's now made peace with it, and is going to live in Deadpool's
universe.
Oh, but this is also where.
But see, then does he now become the new anchor for the universe?
Well, the TVA lady's like, your universe is healed.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
Why? Don't know. Is it there's a new anchor? They don't say that.
By them doing this sacrifice changed the fact that they needed an anchor for this universe? I don't know.
I think it's because, when a TVA guy tells Deadpool about the anchor point, I think he mentions that a moment that is so badass, such a great sacrifice that the universe revolves around it. I think they're going to try and play it off that it was the sacrifice of Wolverine and Deadpool that reoriented their universe.
So they both became an anchor?
I think that's what they're going with.
Okay.
It's nonsense.
It is nonsense.
And the universe, though, is saved, even though you never felt the weight of it being threatened anyway, because it was nonsense to begin with. Wolverine decides he's going to walk off, but then he turns around, and because Deadpool says, "Let's go get shawarma."
Yeah.
And then they're eating the shawarma, nod to Avengers, and then he decides, hang around, we'll get together, come back to my place, and they have dinner, and it's these are the people he loves.
Yeah.
and happy ending. That's
happy
it.
ending.
And that's it. And there is an after credit scene. I'm trying to remember the after credit scene now. Oh yeah, it's he.
Well, but hang on. Before the after credit scene, there's a clip of like some behind the scenes footage and stuff like this of like you see Hugh Jackman really young, doing his first interview and talking about being on set for the very first time, playing Wolverine, and how nervous he was. And
not
stuff
only
like
that, they show clips
so it's
from
a bit of a nod.
They show clips from all the Fox properties.
Yeah.
It's like a farewell to the Fox properties, even though it mocked it throughout the whole film.
Yeah,
so I'm
true.
not really sure
But then it cuts to the end credit scene.
And so what it is that there's this bit of a joke throughout the film that Deadpool got Johnny Storm killed. Because when she's interrogating him, Deadpool says, this guy said this about you and that about you. And he's like, I didn't say that, he's lying. And that's what causes her to kill her. And then Wolverine is blaming Deadpool for getting Johnny killed. And at the end, Deadpool is like, I didn't get him killed, I was telling the truth. And he plays a scene where Johnny is actually saying the things Deadpool said he said. It's just another joke. It was funny.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the end of the Deadpool Wolverine. And after going through the entire film, I'm at the same place.
I'm at the same place too. Actually, in fact, I like it less.
Oh, do you?
I like it less. It's the fact of no substance.
Yeah.
It's fun and it's dumb fun and you get a laugh. And there's the moments and
you
this
get
and
cameos.
that, and you get good fights and you got good CGI and it looks great and it's fine. But when it comes to what the story is trying to do, it's nothing. There's nothing really there. And again, with how the story starts, with him being estranged from her, and like the relationship's not really good, but it's still his whole world. He even asked her if she's seeing someone, and she says yes.
Yeah.
She's seeing someone else. And it's like, okay, all right, this is what we're doing.
The film tries to give you a payoff where Wolverine tells Deadpool, just talk to her.
Yeah.
And Deadpool's now rekindling the relationship. Because the relationship died on a wet fart, and it doesn't mean anything, I don't get any payoff that, now he's going to get the relationship back together, that the film purposely sabotaged for the sake of the plot.
I also don't know how him going into car sales or whatever is supposed to fix whatever issues he's having. Their relationship was built on, she was a stripper and he was a henchman. He was
basically,
like
a henchman, a hitman,
whatever you want to call him. And
hired muscle.
Yeah. And their relationship was just his chemistry. They're the first time he pays for her to go on a date with her, she thinks they're just going to have sex because that's basically what she's being paid to do. And then they go off and they go on a date and all of that. And basically their relationship, I just don't see how they can just flip that on a dime coming into the beginning of this movie. Yeah,
that's why this movie feels actually disconnected from the other Deadpool movies. Because they decide to undermine the very core of those two films to have this multiversal, look, it's a joke fest, and they achieve that. It is a joke fest, but it feels disconnected from Deadpool, completely disconnected from the MCU, and the only connections they do have to the MCU are the worst parts of it, and they double down and make it even worse, if you can imagine that with the TVA. And so if I was to balance out my score, I still think the humor, and I enjoyed watching the film.
Yeah.
But because there's so little substance and the plot is so stupid, I think balancing it out, I'm on 5 out of 10. Yeah,
me too. I'm about there. Yeah. Average. The thing is, though, too, is with everything that we've seen in the MCU, this doesn't even come close to anything from phase 1, 2, or 3 of... Yeah, like good Marvel, when it was really steaming, had weight and had sincerity, substance. You were into it, right? This has none of that, but it does manage to make fun of the failings of the MCU, which makes the MCU look worse, and then show some actual loyal interpretations of comic book characters, which the MCU doesn't always do, which makes it look worse as well. Yep. It goes to realms that the regular MCU would never do, with edgy jokes and violence and stuff like that. And so I actually think this film
will harm the MCU.
I don't know if it'll harm it, but it won't fix it. It won't do it. It's not doing anything.
All right.
It's not doing it any favors.
Exactly. Do you think people are gonna now think I'm gonna go watch Agatha or Ironheart because
or the Captain America Falcon Soldier?
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, no.
There's nothing in this film that would make people want to watch the MCU. If anything, it reveals more of the issues.
Yeah. It actually that's really all it does. Is it reveals the problems that the MCU's having.
Yep.
Very
interesting film. Like I said, there was a lot to break down with this one because there was
I'm actually disappointed.
Oh yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. I expected more. I
was expecting more as well. I was actually expecting...
Going through it, I expected way more.
The trailers actually made it seem like there was something important happening that Deadpool was fighting for.
Yeah.
This is a
joke. Really.
He's fighting for an arbitrary joke that the TVA bull crapped together.
And this is the thing too, though, is that you've got to give the character stakes in some way. Now, when you've got somebody like Wolverine and Deadpool who can't essentially be killed, you need to find a reason for them to keep fighting. This is one of the good things about the first and the second one is Deadpool, well, he was going to lose his own life, and then even at the end of the movie, there were the stakes of Francis killing his girlfriend, right? And then... in the second one, you've essentially got a very similar thing where he's got to stop Russell, right? Because of his missus being killed. Now, yes, he does go back in time by the end of the movie and stop that from happening. But the message that he's getting through this, I don't know, the dream that he's having of his girlfriend and everything is basically pushing him to save the kid's life, which in turn then does save that world, because if he makes that first kill, if Russell makes that first kill, he's going to burn the whole place down, right? Which this is why Cable comes back. But so there's nothing like that. The whole time you're watching this movie, you're not really thinking, oh, the universe is really in all that much danger.
At no point did I really care about anything that was going on, apart from having a laugh, and I was enjoying myself.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think this was one of those films where I would say I'm enjoying it, even though I know it's bad.
Yeah.
And
it almost becomes a guilty pleasure movie.
The thing is, though, the parts that were funny were really funny.
Yeah.
I think this actually has the best humor and better jokes out of any Deadpool film.
Yeah.
I laughed out loud more than I did in any other films.
I will say there's another thing in this that disappointed me, and that's we don't really get a Wolverine fourth wall break.
Do you think we needed it?
I just think it would have been really good.
The fourth wall break from Nice Pool was hilarious.
Yeah. No, that was good. But is there a fourth wall break from Wolverine? Or if there was, I can't remember it. But I don't think that there was. I don't know. Just some sort of fourth wall break from Wolverine would have probably been good.
I really did like how straight Hugh played Wolverine.
He's still got it.
Oh, man.
He's still got it.
Really good. So, there we go. That's
Deadpool.
Overall thoughts of Deadpool. I'm interested to see what other people think.
Yeah.
I'm going to have an interesting conversation, I know, about this on FNT with the guys, and you'll probably have a great conversation on Flashcast.
Yep.
And you'll probably do something on your own channel as well.
Yeah.
Guys, check out Raging Rhino's channel.
Yeah, please. Come over, subscribe. I do Casual Rage every Fridays. It's usually Thursday evenings for most of people in the States, but if you're here in Australia, it's Friday afternoons. And I'll definitely be talking about Deadpool this week coming, so
awesome.
Check that out.
Awesome. And as always, stay on watch.